We've all been there, right? A couple of clicks online and bam, a few days later, a package just shows up at your door. But have you ever stopped to think about what happens in between? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the incredible high-tech world of the modern warehouse and really dig into the science of how your stuff gets to you.
Seriously, think about that last thing you ordered. The second your screen said thank you kicked off this unbelievable chain reaction. It's a full-on race against the clock, happening inside a gigantic building you'll probably never even see. And that's exactly where our story starts. At the very heart of this entire operation is something called order picking. Now that sounds almost laughably simple, doesn't it? Just grabbing items from a shelf. But as it turns out, this one single activity is the key to everything. It determines whether a company can actually deliver on its promise of fast, accurate shipping. It's a logistical puzzle on a truly epic scale. So why are we focusing so much on just one task in a warehouse? Because order picking isn't just part of the operation. In a lot of ways, it is the operation. It's the most critical, the most expensive, and honestly, the hardest part to get right. You know, if you talk to any warehouse manager, they'll tell you this straight up. It takes more time, more energy, and more people than anything else they do. More than getting goods in, more than packing the boxes, more than anything. It's just a constant drain on resources. But just how big of a drain are we talking about? Yeah, this number is what gets me. It is absolutely staggering. Research shows that a whopping 55% of all the money it takes to run a warehouse goes directly into order picking. That's more than half the entire budget, which of course means that if you can make picking even a tiny bit more efficient, the savings are just massive. And you know, this whole puzzle is only getting harder to solve. As customers, we want everything like yesterday. So warehouses are dealing with tons of smaller, more frequent orders. They're also managing this explosion of different products, what they call SKUs. And on top of all that, our expectations for speed and accuracy are through the roof, all while it's getting harder and harder to find people to actually do the work. Okay, so how in the world do you solve this giant, expensive, complicated problem? Well, the first big idea is to completely rethink the warehouse itself. It's not just about telling people to work harder. It's about designing a smarter space where efficiency is literally built into the walls. So you've really got two main philosophies here. On the left, you've got the classic picker-to-stock method. This is where a worker is just walking and walking and walking up and down aisles to find what they need. But on the right, you have stock-to-picker, which totally flips that idea on its head. Here, cool technology like robotic shelves brings the items directly to a worker who pretty much stays in one spot. And this right here is the fundamental shift, the big aha moment. The most time-consuming part of the old way was just walking. The stock-to-picker system gets rid of most of that by making the inventory itself move. It's such a simple idea, but the impact it has on speed and just saving human energy is revolutionary. But hey, maybe you can't get an army of robots to move your shelves. That's okay, because simply where you put things in the first place makes a gigantic difference. I mean, think about your own kitchen pantry, right? You don't put the cereal you eat every single day way in the back on the top shelf. Of course not. Warehouses use that exact same logic just on an unbelievable scale, using these things called storage assignment policies. So this kind of breaks down into a few main strategies. You've got random, where an item just goes into any open spot. It's great for using every inch of space, but it can be chaotic. Dedicated is the total opposite. Every item has its own home, so it's easy to find, but it's super wasteful with space. The really clever ones are class-based, where you put all the popular stuff in the easy-to-reach spots, and family grouping, that's where you put items that people often buy together, like shampoo and conditioner, right next to each other. Genius! Okay, so we've made the physical warehouse smarter, but what about the actual person doing the picking? Well, that's the second major area for improvement. It's all about optimizing their workflow, the actual decisions they make, and the path they take on every single run. First up is a strategy called order batching. The idea here is instead of sending a worker out to get the stuff for just one customer's order, the system is smart enough to group a bunch of different orders together into one super efficient trip. The logic here is it's pure common sense, right? Why would you make 10 separate trips down the same aisle for 10 different orders when you can just go once and grab all 10 items? It massively cuts down the total distance a picker has to walk in a single day. It sounds simple, but figuring out the best way to batch those orders is an incredibly complex computer science problem. Now, even once you have your batch of items, there's another puzzle you gotta solve. What is the best order to pick them in? This is a famous, classic challenge in logistics, and it's known as the traveling salesman problem. Basically, if you have a list of places to go, what is the absolute shortest possible path to visit every single one of them?
So it breaks down just like this. Your picker gets a list, right? And those items are scattered all over the place, across dozens of aisles and shelves. The whole goal of what's called order sequencing is to use these powerful algorithms to instantly calculate the most efficient path through that maze to get everything on the list.
And the impact of getting this right? It's enormous. We're not talking small gains. Research has shown that just by using smart routing algorithms, warehouses can slash the travel distance for a picker by up to 47%. That is almost cutting their walking distance in half, which means faster orders and a whole lot less tired workers.
All right, so we've looked at smarter layouts and we've looked at faster pickers. But when researchers looked at all of these different methods together, they found one area that got way, way more attention than any of the others. And that's a pretty clear signal of where the biggest improvements are just waiting to be made.
And you can see it right here on this chart. There is a clear winner. A massive 45% of all the academic research is focused on order picking sequencing. That's optimizing the picker's route. That's more than double the attention that any other strategy gets. It tells you that the experts believe that cracking the code of the perfect path is the most powerful tool in the toolbox.
But here's the real key, the secret sauce, if you will. The most cutting-edge warehouses, they don't just pick one of these. The real breakthrough happens when you combine them all. You use smart storage to batch orders intelligently, bring the items to the picker with automation, and then you calculate the perfect route for what's left. It's when all these ideas work together that you get something truly special.
Which, of course, leaves us with one last, kind of provocative question. As our algorithms get better and better at finding that perfect route and our warehouses become more and more automated, what's the end game? In this constant quest for efficiency is the final step to remove the human from the equation altogether. It's definitely something to think about the next time you click buy.